Hello, everyone. Just Elliott here. We have taken a little bit of a break, a little hiatus, a little siesta. Recently, I've been switching between totally fucking depressed and trying to learn Japanese. So I'm, balls deep focus or sitting on my couch, not wanting to do anything. So I threw together a little compilation, a filler episode, if you will. In a sense, we've run out of manga source material of our lives, and I'm just upcycling some snippets that I personally enjoyed, and I think they're probably the highlights of the episode that they're taken from. And it's only episodes 1 through 5 that I took stuff from. So if you really like this episode, don't worry, there's more to come. Anyway, I'll shut up now. We'll be back next year. Definitely going to put in more effort into the show because it's really fun, and we'll get better at it. Like we've said for pretty much every episode, we mention how bad it is. So thanks for hanging in there, and imagine there's a little guitar riff transition or something here. Whatever.
Depends on what makes more money.
Exactly.
Because that's what it's all about.
I'm
money.
not afraid to sell out. So, bring it on.
Heard it here, folks. He's a Nazi and a capitalist.
And a capitalist. Yep, capitalist pig, Nazi. What I want people to take away from episode 1 is that they should hate me.
Not that hard.
Yeah, no, it's pretty. I mean, I hate me. So, it's pretty easy for...
We're just here to figure it out. We're going to find our proverbial place in this internet sphere, this whole thing. I mean, you got people that talk about very specific topics and are very educated on them.
Yeah.
And then you have people that don't do that. And I feel like we'll fall into the latter.
We're probably in that second column. From a realist perspective.
And that's okay. Because, everybody has a podcast now.
Yeah. And
your mom probably has a podcast.
Your mom does have a podcast. I listen to it, and it's really good. It's not, actually. It's really bad. I just don't have the heart to tell her that, everybody knows how to cook lasagna. You don't have to make a recipe book podcast to tell everybody how to cook your lasagna, and it's like,
it's like pasta, some smashed up tomatoes, and then a little basil, and then you're good to go.
Exactly.
Just put it in 3 layers.
Yeah.
Throw that shit in the microwave for 5 minutes. Boom.
Exactly. My family secret is that, we put onions in it, but instead of chopping them up real nice, we just leave them nice and chunky, and that's the way our family likes it.
My family secret is we only cook our food in the microwave.
Oh.
It's healthier.
You're right. I mean, they're just waves. What are heat waves in an oven? They're just waves. Microwaves.
Yeah, it's just
they're
waves.
Just waves. So it's all organic and healthy.
It's just as God intended.
That's right.
He wants us to use electromagnetic radiation to cook our food. That was the whole point. It just took us, a couple thousand years to figure that out.
I mean, when our ancestors were crawling out of the trees and eating bugs and raspberries and woolly mammoths walking around, the epitome of this is putting a microwave sirloin steak on a paper plate.
Serving it up to the nuclear family.
That's right. Who are you, man? We just met today, is that correct?
That's correct. I had never met this man before in my life. He came into my home. I left my door unlocked while I was taking a shower, and he busted into the bathroom with a gun. He was like, "Sit down right now. We're gonna do a podcast.
We're doing
together.
a podcast right here in his bathroom. And
And I mean, he has a revolver. I don't know if it's loaded or not, but I have to assume it is.
Yeah. Are they blanks or not?
So
that's what you should really worry about.
I'm not going to take that chance. So I will tell you about myself then, Elliot.
You did mention how much you like money earlier. Sorry to interject.
I'm a gamer, so that's a strike against me on getting laid or anything like that. But hey,
yeah. Yeah, add that to my list of bad qualities as well.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anybody could bust in with a gun while you're in the shower and force you to record a podcast with them. Some people are just loco, man. They're just wild. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have a good idea of what you're getting at.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen the tattoo on my forearm here that says loco, and then the other one that says insane?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of freaked out when I saw those teardrop tattoos underneath your eye. And I know that means you've killed people before, like, technically. So
that is correct.
That kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I didn't judge you because of that, because you're totally valid.
Well, thank you.
As a person.
I appreciate it. I put the teardrops there as as an artistic expression of my soul, like, crying because I've killed so many people.
Because of the people you murdered. Yeah. Because of that family in Minnesota you murdered in 1998.
That's right. That family that I murdered in 1998. Yeah, their bodies won't be found. If you didn't want any more matrices, you could say matrices. Yeah.
Matrices. Yeah, I guess you could. It's the Matrices universe.
Yeah, like the
cinematic universe.
Like you could say the Matrix movies or the movies Matrices. No, never mind.
We very well could be.
Yeah, that was the question I had after the first Matrix. Was, am I a cow with VR goggles?
I want to see the red lady. I want to see the red lady with the big boobies.
That's right.
Nothing else matters besides that. It's kind of like that Caves of Cud game I was telling you about, that like rogue like game.
Oh yeah.
Where it was like I said I like made a clone of myself, and then he was like my friend for a while, but eventually he got hit with a spell that made him not my friend, and then he like went off on his own little adventure and got all buffed up, and then he came back and killed me later. It's like, but I mean, the reality of that was it was just like a bunch of text boxes and
yeah,
like not immersive game. I mean, it's immersive, but it's not.
It's immersive in the same way that like reading a novel is immersive.
Yeah,
you're filling in the blanks with your imagination. Yeah.
That's all that matters. That's gaming at its core.
Exactly. I believe we finally nailed a name for the podcast, so I'm happy to announce that the title of our podcast is The Joe Rogan Experience. No, that's
I think that
taken.
one might be taken already.
That's taken? Shit. Well, all right then. I guess we'll we'll have to figure it out.
Oh, yeah. I've got, like, my A+ and MTA, working on Network Plus now.
Nice.
That's about it for my week.
I have an A+ in gaming because I'm a master at video games.
Master gamer.
Yeah. I have an A+ network gamer certificate. I can play on networks.
And you're proud of that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you should be.
But like, if you get carpal tunnel, you can get like pain pills, right? As like a prescription.
Yeah, if you count like acetaminophen as a pain pill.
Oh, nice. Get some of that hardcore
they don't prescribe
Tylenol
them like they used
3,
to, man.
baby.
Yeah, no, you're not going to get anything harder than Tylenol,
No,
really.
especially after listening to this podcast, and they're like, we know what we're doing. You're playing all these video games just so you can get an opioid prescription. Come on.
Jesus.
Get your life together.
There are probably better ways to go about it.
Yeah, there probably are.
Just throw your back out and say you have chronic pain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now with 2 as I reach this point where it's like it has to be right before the last bit of the game, and it's like, oh, now you can walk around with your adopted daughter and you can go do stuff around town. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay, I'll do that for a minute. And she was like, I want you to get 300 points in darts.
What?
And like you can, like, if you do it, she has a little bar that you can fill up, and like the completion is inside, and he's like, oh my god,
You just
I want to
be
do
is
it.
that like the like good stepdad bar or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or adopted dad bar, like.
Yeah, and like she'll ask you to do stuff. She'll be like, "Oh, I want to go to this restaurant and I want to go eat some takoyaki." But then she'll be like, "I want you to beat Virtua Fighter and not take any damage." It's not that crazy, but it'll be like, "I want you to beat Virtua Fighter," and it's actually the whole game of Virtua Fighter, and it's very hard. It's very difficult. So I kind of said, "Fuck that."
I like that. That's the lesson. It's like the child just demands something, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it because yeah, why not?" You know, instead of just being like, "No, that's a ridiculous demand. I'm gonna sit you in front of a TV and you can watch Dora the Explorer for a while." Because
essentially,
there's no way
you
I'm
want me to get a perfect score in golf? Are you kidding?
And her demands will just get, crazier and crazier. She goes on. That's a bad lesson for her to learn, First, you're beating Virtua Fighter without taking any damage, and then, a year later, you're, scaling the Empire State Building without any safety net, And she's just like, don't slip and die, or else you're not going to be my favorite dad anymore.
It's a very slippery slope, that's for sure.
Exactly. Wish I could see the Rosetta Stone, with everybody's language carved on it or something. If that was is that what that is?
Yeah, that was supposed to be wasn't it supposed to be the universal language or something? I don't know. It's a biblical story, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, is that Tower of Babel, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Something like that.
Yeah,
it was
all
everybody gets along, and God's like, I don't like this shit, yo. Fucking, you guys, you can't speak the same language. And then, there was a lightning strike, and everybody was like, oh shit, now we speak Chinese instead of Italian.
And then the Romans tried to do it again, and we know how that turned out.
Oh, yeah. 300 wasn't a super accurate movie from what
I don't think so.
Here.
I don't think that's a very good measure.
That wasn't a documentary.
I mean, that was they were definitely playing that up too. I mean, the whole tale was what do you call it? Like making them look better just because they took a huge loss, a big L.
Yeah, it was like
propaganda.
Yeah, like one of those. I feel like there's a word for it, but it's like a bittersweet kind of thing. It's we got our asses kicked by the Persians, but look, we took out 100 million of them with only 300 dudes. Look how badass we are, and they all had fucking 6-packs, by the way. And the person listening to the story is like, whoa, and that's the story of it. That's 300.
That's 300. They were all super ripped, and Leonidas definitely threw his spear and only barely missed Xerxes.
Yeah.
And there was also a weird hunchback dude.
Yeah, the nasty hunchback dude.
And yeah, that one scene where he's getting felt up by all the chicks just grossed me out.
Yeah, for real.
That was so gross. Guess that's the way the business works, though.
Yeah. That's why I'm not a famous actor, because I couldn't handle that.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I'm not a famous actor.
The only reason, yeah. Okay, hot take. You can't complain about women getting pumpkin spice lattes in the fall if you get seasonal beers.
Oh, fuck. Oh, that hurt. Okay. Like a legitimate attack on me. I just bought some pumpkin ale at the store today. Oof.
And I'm pretty sure it came up in last week's hot take when we were talking about fall and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it did. I said I prefer winter over fall, and that fall is overrated. And yes, I bought some fucking pumpkin beer, some seasonal beer, because I'm a hypocrite. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit.
I had to. It's just,
Oof.
just thinking about, like, because that's what everybody does. Everyone criticizes. They're like, oh, well, all these women are going to go to Starbucks and get their pumpkin spice lattes, but it's okay for me to go buy some pumpkin ale.
You're right. Fuck. I'm a fucking piece of shit. Man.
That really wasn't meant to be a legitimate attack on you. It was just something I thought about, like, when you bought that. I was like,
Welcome to episode 3 of What the Fuck with Mark Marin. We have a lot of dead air that we're going to have to cut out.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a very good episode, Elliott.
This is going to be a bad episode, man. Fuck.
I think there does need to be some kind of prep for podcasts.
Honestly. This
is not good.
This is terrible. This is super
real bad. This one's going to go in the vault.
Yeah. Super Mario Brothers. The movie. I thought
yeah. Want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I do. Because I need to
bring up the actors. I'm going to go ahead.
Okay.
I can't remember. I mean, I remember the big ones at least, but
yeah. I was at work during the direct, and then like you sent a message with like the cast, and I was like, is this live action? That was my thought. Was like, this is another live action Mario movie? Are you fucking kidding me? And then like the casting choices, live action wise, I was like, what?
I mean, even looking at it right now, I'm still like, what the fuck?
It's still absolutely bonkers. Like, cause it's not live action, right?
No, it's.
So it's just voice acted. So then, like, why do they need big Hollywood actors to do the voices? You know?
Yeah, and I don't know what's. It's Illumination.
Oh.
So it's the Despicable Me, which they do really good 3D animation work. I'll say that. I mean, I hate Despicable Me, or I should say I hate the Minions.
Hate the Minions, yeah.
But they do very well with 3D animation. So that, that's it's just, God, this casting list, it's like a meme.
Yeah.
But when someone make a meme of, like, here's my perfect Mario movie.
That's what I thought. I was like, is this like a fan cast? What is this?
No. Bob Hoskins?
Hey, paisanos.
No. I'm thinking the movie. The movie was the old movie. The 80s movie.
Oh, yeah, the
that was Bob Hoskins
and John Leguizamo. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know about the show.
Oh, they should have brought him back.
Yeah, they should have brought him back. No, Charles Martinet, he's the OG. He's always been Mario. He was also Parthenax in Skyrim.
Oh,
the dragon. So he's got range. I don't know. I mean, if it does well,
I guess it's something different.
I'm conflicted about it too, because I'm glad they're doing it with Mario.
Yeah.
Because it probably has the most broad appeal, and if it does well, then maybe they could go off and do something like a Super Metroid movie. That would be maybe a little bit more adult in tone, or a Legend of Zelda movie.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, if it does really well with like old fucks like us, and then they could be like, oh, there's a market for animated movies. Let's start making animated video game movies. And then we finally get video game movies that are good instead of, shit live action adaptations that are for the everyday common man who knows nothing about the game. That would be best case scenario, honestly. Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty sweet. Shit video game movies. God, we really have, man.
I
Like,
mean, I know, like, there's, like, the Mario movie from the 80s. Although, I mean, I like that one, but, I mean, as for an interpretation of a video game, it's terrible. It's awful.
yeah, yeah.
Like, it's a good fun watch, but, man, wow. It's just, except for, like, the last 15 minutes with the Goomba, that was weird.
I
But,
I honestly haven't seen it in so long. I remember seeing parts of it, but it like
yeah.
freaked me out as a kid, and I was like, this is
Yeah, it
what
was super
Mario
fucked
is
up. It was like
like."
a weird cyberpunk thing. Or,
Yeah.
some kind of punk. It was just, they had the whole real world scenario, and then these two plumbers get sucked
Yeah.
into a weird, crazy world, and like the Goombas were like these huge dudes, but their heads were super small dinosaur things, and that was really weird. And like the main dude, God, Bowser, I can't remember who played Bowser in that. He was a really famous actor.
Really, man.
Yes, and I need to look it up. I need to know who it was.
Yeah, look that up. I remember that they used some sort of like puppet thing for what their interpretation of Yoshi, and it was
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
terrible slimy monster looking thing, and I was like, this is their friend? This how is that Yoshi? Like, where are his little shoes? But yeah, it's been a
Dennis
long time.
Hopper.
Oh, Dennis Hopper?
Dennis Hopper is King Koopa.
Man.
A classically trained artist.
You think he took that role and he was like, yeah, this is where movies are going. This is the future.
Yeah, it was. Definitely was. My God. What a mess. I'm pretty sure Bob Hoskins was like, he like kind of figured out what was going on when he started, so he was always drunk on set. I can't blame him. Bad press is good press.
That's right. That's why I'm the heel of the show. That's why I'm the bad guy.
You're the Chris Benoit.
Yeah. There are a couple things that Chris Benoit and I have in common. And, that's terrible. God damn it.
Sorry.
I really
Whatever
liked
I
him
think he'll-
as
I
a
think Chris
wrestler,
Benoit,
man.
yeah, except he killed his family and
Except
then
for,
himself.
yeah.
Probably due to injuries he sustained because he had got so many concussions from wrestling.
Yeah.
Not proven, but likely. I mean,
Very, I want to say that they changed up some of their head trauma and, like, medical stuff, started upping that after that incident.
Yeah, in the WWE?
Yeah, it had just switched to WWE, I think.
Yeah. No, I was saying there's a very small overlap in my life with wrestling where there was a point when I got into it and I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome, that's totally real, and then when I realized it was not real.
Yeah.
But then I could kind of enjoy it as
As the spectacle,
performance
right?
art.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's, it's not like a real match, but like they actually are doing some stunts, it's essentially a stunt show.
Yeah.
With like,
Totally.
hey, I'm the bad guy character. All of you should boo me. And then they're like, boo, you suck. Where's good guy character? And then it's like, bow, wow, 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 wow. And then the lights go down, and JR's like, what in the world is going on? And then, boom, it's The Undertaker or something. It's like, oh, man.
Vince McMahon, he's got to shoehorn himself in there somehow. I will give that. There's that one, I can't remember. It was like a GIF I saw, and it was like he like crawls into the ring or he jumps into the ring or something, and he like throws out both of his hamstrings at the same time. So he just
God.
sits there, and he keeps going. He keeps acting through it. Like he's probably in terrible pain, but he's just like sitting there like he's ready to throw down. Like the show must, it's a circus. The show must go on. But watching a dude fucking climb to the top of a ladder and then dangle from a fucking suitcase that's filled with money. That's a show.
That
That's
is
what I want to
that
see.
is a show, man.
The most ancient of languages. I remember reading something about how there's like one of the most ancient, um, like it's like a receipt, a bill of sale, and it's about this dude that shafted another guy on some copper or some iron or something, and it like wasn't as pure as the guy was claiming it to be. Very interesting.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That like it's one of the first pieces of like written, like written language, and it was just like a, it was like a bash piece on the dude he was writing about.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, it was just some guy was trying to buy some item, and then this merchant lied to him, or maybe didn't disclose to him at exactly, maybe kind of upsold it a little bit. So the
Yeah,
guy basically just wrote a shit piece on him saying that, hey, this isn't up to snuff, this isn't quality. Calling him
nice.
out by name, and he had to like take a hammer and chisel or whatever and nail it to a piece of stone. Like this dude was fucking pissed about it. Like you got to be real upset to
That's
leave a
dedication.
Yelp review like that. Nowadays, all it takes is just signing into your Google account and fucking leaving a leaving a shit piece on someone. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, every time that a business asks me to write them a Google review, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I did it once. The last time I went to a dealership to buy a car, and the the dude straight up like lied to my face, which upsets me. That I mean I didn't realize it until the end of the day, but as he was running my credit and they were trying to do whatever with it, and he was like, "Man, I haven't sold a car. I really need to, I really need to make this sale." And I was like, "Okay, bud, whatever." And then like I went on Google because he was like standing over me and was like, "Hey, write this Google review here while you're waiting." And I was like, "All
That's a
right."
red
And
flag.
yeah, I was young, I was like, I'd say that, but I was like 25. Uh,
Still
eh,
young.
yeah, no, it was before I was definitely, my brain was not fully formed. It was before I was 25. But like I started, I got on Google to write a review and I started scrolling through the older reviews, and they were, there were like two or three of them that like called him by name and said like, "Oh, this guy did so well, blah blah blah." And I was just like sitting there like, "Oh, he just told me he's never sold a car." And so he just straight up lied to my face, and I should have walked out at that point, but like the car I was trading in was in shit condition, like it was starting to fall apart, and the like radiator was not, it kept overheating and stuff, and I took it in to get it fixed and it still didn't fix it, and I was just
This
like,
was a new car.
yeah, yeah.
Well, if you really want to make an impact, then you should leave them a Google review in Sumerian.
I should. That's dedication, is learning Sumerian and then leaving a Google review.
It's very
Leave.
hard from what I hear. It's very difficult to translate stuff from the ancient language.
Man, um I bet it is. Like because back then they could just fucking make up, like, written language wasn't like set until then, so they were just like, "Oh, let's draw this little squiggle and that means this sound or this word or this phrase." Even it just meant whatever the fuck they wanted it to mean. And
Yeah, and I
yeah.
mean it was controlled by the ruling class, of course. So it was whoever had the most advanced civilization at the time. Um, if you're thinking about the game civilization, it's whoever developed writing first.
That was a Civ 1, 2, 3,
I mean,
4,
I think it's
5.
all of them. I'm pretty sure one of the first things that you can do is develop writing and art and culture.
Oh,
So
that makes
eventually, if your
sense.
civilization gets big enough, then yeah, that's what you're obviously going to do. You're going to, if you've got 10,000 people live, or, maybe not 10,000, but like 1,000 plus people living in the same area, you probably want them to all kind of speak the same
at least the same dialect, I would think.
Yeah, hopefully, like communication is key to everything. So if your people can communicate, then you're in good shape until you start developing nukes, and then you're in really good shape.
Yeah, that's when you know you're a truly advanced society is when you have nukes.
That was one of the big themes of MGS5 was lingua franca. That's what Skullface was all about. Was like, oh, my native tongue was ripped from me, and I had to learn another language, and it was we
And
can
it's
talk
probably
about
a
that in
sure.
our
I mean, in the
giant MGS episode.
yes, that's coming someday. Someday, people is the the MGS Super Show,
Yeah, the MGS Super Show is,
and it
is
will
going to be
be
one.
12 hours plus, guaranteed.
God of War clones were pretty hot when God of War came out. Like it changed up the formula for games quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah, no, there were a ton of them. Dante's Inferno.
Dante's Inferno, that's the one I was going to bring up. That I really enjoyed that game, but I played it before I played God of War, so I was like, I didn't realize it was a God of War clone until after the fact, and I was like, oh. But it was still dope. I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, no, that one was, that was really good. I like the in that game especially, it was like how you could pick different paths based on, if you wanted to be evil or good. Although the evil path tended to be the more DPS heavy and probably optimal path, but
Mm-hmm.
it was still cool taking out all those demons. Like if you wanted to, you could just shove the crucifix in their face and absolve them or, tear out their guts.
Yeah. I really liked the animated movie that they made for it too. Like the game, I don't know if the game came out first and then they did the animated thing, but it was set up like the Animatrix where they had like 5 or 6 different animators, and they took chunks of the Dante's Inferno story, and they all had their own sections of the story, but it was all in whatever their style was, which is a little bit jarring, but I think it's kind of awesome. Like, I like animation enough to want to watch something that showcases a bunch of artists in one go, with the same kind of cohesive theme. Um,
It's kind of like how Newgrounds was back in the days with those compilations that a bunch
yeah,
of different animators would do. They would like do it'd be like a Legend of Zelda, and every like, you know, 10 seconds would be dedicated to one animator, and then be another 10 seconds. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
yeah,
When you can do a compilation of that kind of stuff with a bunch of different, people that can animate and draw and stuff, it really, I mean, it can elevate um, a piece. I really believe that. But yeah, like Animatrix and stuff with, just a bunch of professional studios taking their hand at animating whatever the Matrix is.
yeah. The Animatrix was crazy because it was the whole it was like expanded universe stuff with the Matrix, and they covered back like the war with the machines right before everybody got plugged into the Matrix, and covered part of there was another like group of people similar to Morpheus and the Nebuchadnezzar and all that stuff. There's another ship, and they were using that like dojo thing that Neo and Morpheus fight in. It was that same program or whatever, and I think they ended up all dying at the end because it was like, well, they're not in the regular movies, so
Yeah, I mean, that's the limitation. You can be within the canon but you can't interact with the canon.
yeah,
All I had when I was younger were my grandfather's Star Trek VHSs, so I got to watch a lot of
nice.
Star Trek. But
That's cool.
yeah, I mean, it was a number of Next Generation episodes, and I
That's
think he
pretty
had like
sweet.
some of the older movies, but I mean, that was like really, really young, so I don't even remember them. I do know the
Yeah,
Next Generation now, since after you and I have watched it together, um, for the most
y-
part sober.
for the most part. I know there's good chunks of my memory of Next Generation that I do not remember.
And there are
Um,
probably some episodes not worth remembering. Like
yeah.
there was that one episode where Deanna Troy gets like impregnated by a alien or something. That was
What?
pretty bad. Yeah.
What?
I think we were probably drunk for that one when we first watched it, but I have since watched it on my own, and there are some episodes that are just like, what the fuck were they thinking?
Mm,
You
that
know,
they kind of
like,
just phoned it in.
yeah, it was just,
Mm.
it's nothing like, Darmok and Jalad or
At
uh,
Tanagra.
Tanagra. Like episodes like that were really good. Or that one where he like lives out his whole life, Picard. He like lives a whole life and then comes back and like I mean, it's like an old adage, It's like you have a dream and you live out your whole life and you have a family and everything, and then you wake up.
Oh, yeah.
But like when he wakes up, he can still play the flute, and it's
Nice.
super sad.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, because then, like, later on in future episodes, you see him playing the flute just, as just for fun or whatever. And it's like, oh, you remember how he fucking learned how to play the flute. And
Yeah,
it's
like how he had a
super
whole
sad.
family and he was like a big part of the
Yeah.
community and everything. It was really
Oof.
sad, very sad, very good
Right.
episode, very memorable.
Mm-hmm.
But the sad part, like the thing is, it's like it's just as memorable as that episode where Deanna gets impregnated. I don't know if it's Deanna or if it's uh the 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 doctor. I forget what her
Crusher.
name. Yeah, Crusher.
Dr. Beverly Crusher.
I mean, they've both had similar episodes, but I remember one of them they get like impregnated by a space alien or something, and that's like the whole point of the episode.
It's super weird. Was that one that was like where like the alien couldn't really like communicate with anybody or whatever, and it was just some sort of weird kind of monstrosity that they were like, we
It
don't know
was
what the
like an
fuck to do with this thing.
electrical, like the alien itself was like an electrical impulse, and there was this whole scene
Oh,
where she has like she has sex with it.
nice.
I could be getting the episodes confused because I feel like both Troy and Crusher have had episodes that have delved deep into their feminine sexuality, which I don't have any
Yeah.
room to discuss because I'm a man. But
Uh, I
I
mean, have you ever met a woman?
not
I know I
once,
haven't.
not
So,
a single time. But then with the first episode, when I used that Don't Starve footage, I cut out that whole time up until the point you hit
yeah, where it
the
starts up on
yeah,
that was when I think I did a shipwrecked run, but I started as Woody and that was a bad choice.
yeah, it's a bad move. It's a bad time.
I'm also super bad at Don't Starve. And I've played like that's in my top 3 like playtime on Steam. And I'm still just
It's a
super
hard
super
game.
bad
It's a
at it.
very hard game.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you know what you're doing, I mean, you have to know exactly what you're doing, and also hope that you get good RNG and a bunch of other stuff too. I mean,
Yeah. That one definitely requires some looking through the wiki and then
oh
like
yeah,
planning and yeah, because I always get sidetracked. Like I'll see something cool in the crafting menu and like, all right, I'm gonna craft that. But then while I'm out searching for those pieces, I run out of like essential stuff, and then I end up dying or starving or whatever.
you very much have to have a plan
Mm-hmm.
to succeed in that game, and it's kind of the same thing in their other game, No Oxygen Required.
Oh,
It's
do they make that too?
yeah, that's by Cly as well.
Nice.
And it's the same thing. It's like you can play it just by letting the game run and kind of figuring out as you go, but then you hit a point eventually where it's like, wow, I didn't do this, 10 days ago when I should have,
Mm-hmm.
and it completely destroys everything is fucked.
Yeah, man.
It's like, in Don't Starve, if you set up your main camp in a place that's gonna get hit hard by a tree guardian or something like that, or for some reason you're unlucky and you get like next to like a some kind of boss that you don't
Yeah.
realize is going to be there until the season changes,
Mm-hmm.
and it can just completely ruin everything. It's very much like that. You kind of need to know what you're doing beforehand, but kind of the fun of it is figuring out, like, you have those moments, except it takes hours and hours to get there.
Yeah.
Then you lose everything and you have to start over. So,
Yep. And that is exactly my experience. Is I just dump hours into it, and I'm still like I'm better off. I kind of know the basics of surviving and a couple fun tricks, but I still don't think I've made it through winter solo or multiplayer for that matter.
yeah, that one's tough. Winter is tough.
Yeah.
Winter's tough for, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it
That
was it
was
was hard for
the
our ancestors to make it through winter.
mhm. That was the test of metal, Mettle. Uh that they'd go out and have to survive in the winter, like hunter dudes who were running around with just loincloths on most of the time, and they're like, oh, well, now we have to, like, wear clothes when we hunt mammoths and things. That was probably their biggest issue, I think.
I mean, it probably didn't happen as like that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm
Like,
sure they
isn't that
figured out
the.
they had to put clothes on first before they were like, oh, you can't hunt a mammoth without clothes. I'm sure it was like really it was really cold, and they were like, well, we should probably cover up our finer bits.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
maybe.
we're not going to be able to reproduce, and we'll all die.
Yeah. But they did it. They made it through the winter, and now we're doing the same thing pretty much.
Same thing, except we got, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and a bunch of
Modern,
other
westernized medicine, and
many other amenities.
yeah.
But we're just, it's the same grind, we still got to go out there in that cold and
Basically, there's a lot of overlap between an ancient hunter gatherer alpha male and Elliott. There's there are a lot of things that those two have in common.
yeah, they had to worry about their, getting like their feet frostbitten if they
Mhm.
didn't wrap them
Mhm.
in loincloth or something, and we have to worry about hitting a sheet of black ice when we're driving our car to our dead end job.
Yeah. I
Same
was going to say
same
they
principle. With Fallout, they have like a Tale of Two Wastelands where you can merge Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas and play them simultaneously. It's like you can do, you have Fallout New Vegas mechanics with
oh,
Fallout
with
3.
3. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did play New Vegas a lot more than 3.
New Vegas was a good game. Still is a good game, still holds up. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah.
I personally am in the category that loves it. I kind of
Yeah.
wish they would go back to that.
Yeah, same. I put a bunch of hours into Fallout 4, but it just doesn't hit the same, you know?
No.
I never thought that, like, a game based in, like, a desert climate would be super, that engaging and stuff, and it, totally is.
I
It
mean, it was the
surprised me.
writing. It was the writing that really carried it. There were a bunch of memorable characters. I mean, everybody remembers Joshua Graham and his,
Mm-hmm.
he was baptized in fire. Everybody remembers Boone and his whole, you know, his he had to snipe his wife because she was going to be sold off to slavers. So then
Yeah.
his whole like honor mission is going and taking out all the slavers.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, and compared to Fallout 3, where Fallout 3 had such a weak story, it was so.
Mm-hmm.
I remember because I was super hyped for Fallout 3. It was my first Fallout game, but even I remember, like, like at the end of the game, spoilers for Fallout 3 people. At the end of the game, the base game without the DLC, you could have like a super mutant guy in your party, and like the last thing you had to do was go into a super irradiated chamber and enter this code so you could purify the water. And it stands to reason that you could send the super mutant guy in because he's immune to radiation. But if
Yeah.
you try to do that, he's like, no, it's your destiny. You have to go in there and do it yourself.
Even though he could totally do it
Even
and
though he could totally, and
have
then the
no
DLC, they
harm.
made it so he could totally go and do it. Except if you did that, if you like with the DLC installed, if you had him go in and punch in the code and solve the water crisis in DC, everyone would call you a pussy because you didn't do it yourself.
What?
It's like Bethesda. It's like they knew people were pissed about it, so they doubled down and were like, "Okay, fine, yeah, you can send them in to go and do it, but everyone's gonna think you're a pussy."
Damn, the Fallout devs were just like, yeah, that's a pussy move. So,
I mean,
yeah, we'll
yeah,
let you do
kinda,
it,
but
you
still, it's like
pussy.
I should have the option, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, as weak as the story was, you chasing your dad around and
Yeah.
whatever.
Your dad, Liam Neeson,
Yeah.
that was the big. That's like the only character I remember from that game was that Liam Neeson was like half white, half Asian, and then like your mother character was like half
Black,
Hispanic, half
half
black.
white.
So,
I can't
yes,
remember. Yeah,
it
it
was
was like
something
it,
like
it was
that.
it
So it
was
was
made
like you
so
could
you
be
could pick
whatever.
any
Yeah.
race you wanted,
It
and
was
it
cool
was bad.
seeing a
It
half
was
Asian Liam
terrible.
Neeson, though. I thought
I
that
mean,
was
that
fun.
wasn't terrible. That was fine, but the story was terrible. It was just bad.
Yeah. I mean,
And I will.
wasn't it like the
Mm,
exact same plot as like Fallout 1?
yeah, I
Where.
mean, kinda where you have to go in. You're sent off in Fallout One. He's picked by the
Overseer or whatever?
overseer, and he's like, hey, you're going to be the one that goes out to the waste, and you need to get us a new water chip because our water chip for our GEC is, it's ruined, and we only have like 200 days. So he
Yeah.
sends the chosen one, I think. No, is maybe the chosen one's the second. Chosen one's the second.
First one is the Vault Dweller?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he gets sent out, and you have to go do a bunch of hijinks within the allotted period of time, because if you don't, then it's game over. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have multiple saves backed up from weeks before, you can just fuck everything.
Man.
It's a good game. I think 2 is better if you're gonna play
Yeah.
those CRPG games. And 3 was just like a reimagining, but yeah, it did kind of have the same story, except you were trying to bring water to the whole area instead of just a
Oh.
vault.
Oh. See, I thought the Fallout 3, it was like. It was the water was issue was in the vault itself, but.
It was, and it was because DC's water was going bad. It's like they were hooked up to the
Oh.
main I think it's like they
That
were
makes
hooked up to the
sense.
main water line, and it was starting to go bad. And that's why your dad left, was to go and figure out why. So that was the whole thing with 3, was you're supposed to figure out the water issue with DC, which it's canon that you fix it, but
Mm-hmm.
not exactly canon if he survives or not, which doesn't really matter. It's
Yeah.
like the courier, it doesn't matter if he lived through the new divide or whatever.
Yeah. Even though the courier was an awesome character.
Oh yeah, total badass.
Super badass. They got to
Gross.
do it hasty, you know? When
Yeah,
people have to. When people want to strike at us, come at us, and cancel us, they have to do it fast because they know that we're on the ball
they
and that
better
we'll
do it
cancel them
fast.
first.
Yeah, or we'll cancel ourselves first.
That's right.
And
The
that's a
entirety of the
Midwest
UK.
scumbag promise. We'll cancel ourselves before you can, you fucking. And then just put a giant censor thing
Yeah.
here.
just, just,
Just
you,
censor
you,
up, beep all that out. Beep all this out too.
beep all this out. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Critical Role, where a bunch of us nerdy ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons.
And play Dungeons and Dragons, indeed we do.
That's what we do here. I feel like Star Wars, I'd still care about it if there were tanky lumberjack demons.
Oh, well, for Star Wars, that's easy fix. All you need is a really super annoying alien that serves as comedic relief. That's how you make a good Star Wars movie.
Maybe one that's a Jamaican stereotype.
I mean, possibly. It doesn't have to be Jamaican, just as long as it's some sort of ethnicity that's not, used in the common media.
So it could be like a. No, I was gonna say Italian is like the safe. It's the safe one that you can do. You can still do Italians,
It's
stereotypical
a me,
Italians.
Jar Jar Binks.
That's right. Smoking cigarettes.
Smoking a bunch of fucking cigarettes, yeah.
Yeah, get that nice gaunt look in your face.
Because they can afford the dentist work. I mean, it doesn't matter how much they smoke.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they could be chain smokers and they can afford to go to the dentist every 2.5 weeks or whatever and get their teeth cleaned.
Oh, is that what they do at the dentist? I I haven't been to the dentist. Uh,
Are you really going to say that on stream?
uh,
Are you going to lie?
I no, I'm honestly just like can't remember the last time I went to the dentist, and that's not good. But like, I mean,
No, it's not. Yeah,
I
I mean, as
brush
long as
pretty
you're good on your
regularly,
dental
floss
hygiene.
semi-regularly.
I think you're supposed to go like every 6 months or something.
What?
Yeah,
That's insane.
it's very expensive too.
God, right? Every 6 months. What? Like,
I
I feel
could
like
be
you have
wrong
to
on
have a
that number.
teeth problem for that.
I mean, it's just going to get your teeth checked out to make sure that everything's good.
Mm.
I
No,
mean,
you
I'm
don't have
not,
to.
I'm not one to talk. It's been a minute since I've went myself, but I do keep up with brushing and
Mm-hmm.
flossing and all that stuff. But I am a
Yeah.
smoker too, so that's not good.
Yeah, it doesn't help. I recently got another pack just because I ran out of fucking vape stuff, and there's been a law recently that made it just a pain in the ass to order vape stuff online. I think, because they're just trying to keep the millennial hipster down, the most repressed group.
Most repressed group in the United States next to gamers.
That's right. No, but I was like, man. So I just picked up a pack of cigarettes, and I mean, I finished it today, and I'm really trying to not. I mean, the whole that nicotine craving just doesn't go away.
I don't think it ever really does for anybody.
No.
I remember when I was in the hospital earlier this year for it was like 2 weeks. I was like a week and a half, I guess. But that whole week, I was a pretty constant smoker before that. Then I went into the hospital and it's like, oh, you can't smoke at all, ever, while you're in the room. So it was just, you get a patch. And even
Oof,
on the
man.
patch, it was like, God damn, man, I just want to fucking open up my window and step out onto the roof and smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
Trigger warning for any smokers that are listening to this.
Oh yeah, for
Very
sure.
late trigger warning.
Very late, but whatever.
Smoking's awesome.
It's probably the coolest thing that you can do. So
Probably.
that's why this is a very cool podcast.
Very. If you've ever watched anime and you've ever seen the protagonist smoke a cigarette and he takes a huge drag of it and looks up in the sky while he's trying to figure out a problem, man. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was kind of the main that was one of the reasons that I picked another pack up a while back. I go on and off. If I have vape stuff, I really don't smoke, but like,
What
oh
cool anime
god,
protagonist vapes?
yeah, none of them exactly.
Absolutely none of them.
It'd be embarrassing. Um,
That could be wrong. I mean, maybe there is some show where anime protagonist vapes, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And
And
if
if I
you
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it,
it, then
it's not real. It doesn't exist. That's my mantra with everything in life.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like if One Piece, when and if it ever ends by the grace of God,
We'll see.
we'll see. There will be a spin-off after spin-off of it. I mean, fuck, Netflix is already doing a spin-off of it, and it's still going. You know,
Jesus.
it's like, I mean,
I
I
want
don't
to
know. I don't
say
watch One Piece, so I can't.
4,000, issue 4,000
It's like
or
it's
something
like
of the
1080,
manga.
1080,
Oh,
because it sometimes pops up on my my news feed whenever a new one comes out,
oh,
and it's like
okay.
in the thousand something, which is a lot.
So 4,000 for the manga volumes is accurate or not?
I mean, not because it's not at 4,000. It's like at 1,000, which is a lot for a, for a volume centered manga.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
mean, I think JoJo, even the most recent one, it went up to like maybe 100 something
Mm,
for JoJolion. But those were longer chapters too, so I guess you gotta like it was like 20 pages or something per chapter, whereas One Piece
oh,
is maybe less, some you know somehow less than that. I don't know what exactly, but from just my outside purview of it, it's what I get is that it's like each chapter is much shorter
mm-hmm.
than a lot of other things, and that's why there are so many, and the
Yeah,
anime
I
is
can see
so far
that.
behind.
Really, man.
Yeah,
I honestly have no desire to get into One Piece. I watched a couple episodes back in the day, and I thought it was a fun concept, but I was like,
I'm
the
sure it's very good. Like I
I'm
really do
sure.
believe it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no reason it would go on as long as if it wasn't good, right?
Yeah. There's also just like personally, there's a limit to how much like pirate shit I consume. I have to break it up into intervals and uh I can dive into some pirate stuff. I think it's cool, it's fun, but it's like I can't like pay attention to a pirate story for a
If there
thousand
is anybody
episodes.
watching this, any of you, any person that wants to make a comment, sell me on One Piece. Sell me on it.
Yeah, put it in the YouTube comments of the inevitable YouTube upload.
Like, please do.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy that's probably only watched maybe the first 10 or so episodes of the dub. God,
Yeah.
shoot me in the head.
Actually same. Yeah.
Like, just tell me why it's good, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Kidding, kidding. I respect everybody's opinion on
Yeah. Pew pew.
manga. I
Shots
mean,
fired.
I mean, I've probably watched some real shit, real trash that nobody cares about.
Oh, 100%. I have, dude. I have a. I'm sure you know. I have a sick problem with rom coms. Like, man, I just started rewatching Kaguya-sama in the dub. Actually, no, I finished it. What am I talking about? But I watched it all when it first released, just subtitled, and then I rewatched it as the dub. Um, oh God, I've seen so many that
Is it
it's just
sad?
like
Does it get
embarrassing.
sad, or is it just a harem kind of thing?
Um, Kaguya is not a harem thing. It's more of like the high school uh romance, the typical Japanese situation where it's like, oh, I'm secretly in love with this person, but I'm way too embarrassed to come out and admit it. And then, that person is like, oh, I'm in love with them, but there's no way I'd admit it. I'm not going to get made fun of in front of my friends for having romantic feelings for somebody. And then, hijinks ensue because of that.
I see.
but but it's fun. It's mindless and it makes me feel less alone and broken inside, if that makes sense.
Whereas I'm the opposite, and I like watching stuff that makes me feel more broken inside. I like watching those rom-coms that absolutely tear me down. Like it's like,
Oh,
oh, this is 12 or 13 episodes, and it's really funny and happy for like, the first 10 or so, and then like the last two just completely break you down mentally and tear you apart emotionally. That's the kind of stuff I like.
oof. Is that Clan Ad?
Yeah, Clan Ad was, that one was all right.
I
That one was probably more like, maybe not more like, but it was like the one you're describing, Kaguya-sama, where it's like
sort of, but
it's a
it's
high school
actually.
romance anime,
Mm-hmm.
and then Clan Ad After Story is like where everybody ends up after high school, which is the real tragedy.
Oh
It's like
man,
real life.
that's
It's like
awful.
high school was pretty great. Remember that whole drama club thing that we had going on? How happy we were.
Well, we'll never feel that way again.
And that, yeah, now we'll never feel that way again
Oof.
because you have a kid and I have cancer, and it's not going to
Oh.
end up good.
Oof.
Not
Those are
spoilers,
more.
but it's
I don't
basically
know.
like that. Yeah, it's very sad. And I like stuff like that. Like Angel Beats was a very good one because it was like that
Hmm.
a lot. There was a lot of humor in it, but there was also a lot of sadness. Uh,
Yeah.
Anohana, The Flowers We Saw That Day was a very good
Mm,
anime. Very funny, very lewd, but it also
nice.
like was gut wrenching at certain parts.
Ugh. Yeah. Like Your Lie in April. Can-
I mean, that one was like sad from the get go.
that was kind of sad from the get go. You're right. You're right.
Like
Not really
that
a
one was just
comedy,
really
but
depressing. I mean, it was
oof.
good. I mean, not like them completely, but fucking main character dude, he was always struggling through that whole thing,
Yeah.
and he
Oh
kept
man.
struggling, and he kept struggling, and he struggled until the very end when he kept struggling more. And then he finally kind of got over it, but I mean, it was still super sad. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
But yeah, not really because then, all that struggling and it was all pretty much for naught.
yeah, pretty much.
Just brutal. Just brutal. I'm
It's
sorry.
not
I'm
the only
sorry we
kind of
got
anime
into
I
the
like. I mean, I do like my shonen.
low production cost. Kind of like this podcast, am I right?
I mean, if $0 is low production, then yeah, sure.
just just us for now.
I mean, think about it. How many paintings do you think Van Gogh made?
Uh like at least 50.
Okay, but realistically, throughout his whole lifetime,
Yeah. Oh, through his whole lifetime, I guess I I don't know.
like a
Like
thousand.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's probably realistic.
How
I
many
was
of
going to
those
say
are
a couple
famous?
hundred. I don't know fucking anything about Van Gogh.
I'm just saying, like, it's a numbers game, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe okay, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Van Gogh is a bad example. I'm just saying, like, a famous artist throughout his whole lifetime is probably going to paint more than a couple hundred paintings. And how many of those are going to be famous?
I get you. I get you.
Like
Okay.
Leonardo da Vinci, how many paintings do you know from
Oh,
him?
yeah.
It's like the Mona
Um,
Lisa
the Mona
and
Lisa and the Last Supper.
yeah, and that's it. But how many do you think he made in his whole life?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if painting was his like. I was gonna say his forte, but his forte was fucking everything.
Oh,
Homeboy,
sure, art.
homeboy did everything.
It's just like it's a numbers game. You just
Yeah. We just
some
gotta keep cranking out episodes until
and that's what
eventually.
I'm equating these podcasts to. It's like So maybe we put out 1,000 episodes and only one of them actually is popular. If that's the only one people know, then well, good.
Yeah, that's fair. There's people who have podcasts now who are famous for like one thing that they did on the internet. Oh yeah, yeah, I'm
As
sure.
as a concept, I do not care for TikTok. I just
Hmm.
don't.
The thing that bothers me are the ones that have the stupid like robot voice, the like
Oh, like the
Microsoft
AI
lady voice.
generated one. Well, it's not even AI
Yes.
generated. From what I understand, is that they actually had people record a bunch of lines for that, and they never paid them for it.
Oh, that's fucked
I
up.
could be wrong, but
Wow.
I remember that being a talking point because a lot of people were complaining about just how annoying it was. Like, oh, I am doing this thing, and it is a thing, and we are doing this thing together.
Yes. Oh my god. Fucking blow my brains
And
out.
that's
Just
exactly
the
how it sounds.
this yeah, the sound of that voice, it makes me irrationally angry. Like I know maybe it's just like, you know, in the human jelly in the center of me is like that's not a human voice. That's fake. That's a robot or something, you know? I it just it makes me upset.
Yeah, it's part uncanny valley, just part, I don't
That might
know,
be part of it, yeah.
laziness. You can't take the time to record a voiceover for it yourself and use your own actual cadence and
Mhm.
whatever, that you
Mhm.
just have to use this pre-recorded voice that uses all these pre-recorded voice lines to get your point across. But man, those things get millions of views.
Yeah, I
Like stupid amounts of views, and they all get ad revenue from it too, is the thing.
god
That's why
damn it,
that it
man.
gets, it's so popular. Like, hey, I'm gonna watch a 3-second ad so I can watch this 20-second video. They really monetize that shit like good.
Oof.
I know YouTube is trying to do its own thing now with like YouTube Shorts, and it's trying to do the TikTok thing where you watch like a
Mhm.
very short ad and you get a 20-second video. But it's exhausting.
Yeah, I
It's
don't care for it. Just the format of it, or it's just not for me. I
Yeah,
think,
and
and
it's
that's
not
all
like
right.
there's not good stuff on there because I mean sometimes I get linked good stuff that's interesting. It's just sad that
Yeah,
those creators have to use that medium because it's
yeah,
literally the only way to get your voice out.
yeah. Right now, it's fucking popping off. I feel that.
It was the same thing with World of Warcraft too. I mean, I kept subbing to that for months after I stopped playing it just because of that. I kind of want to.
Just resub right now.
But
Play it for five
no.
hours.
But no. I don't think so.
No, don't do it.
I
Don't
think
do it,
Blizzard has
man.
lost my trust as a company
Yeah,
with all the shit they've done the past year, 2 years, 3 years.
yeah. I
They,
think they're officially bad guys.
yeah, I mean, they fucked Overwatch over pretty hard. They
Yeah,
killed Heroes of the Storm, which I wasn't into, but kind of sucks. Their only MOBA they killed off.
weak. I heard that
Classic.
the Warcraft was it Warcraft 3 remaster was just
2.
absolute shit.
Well, yeah, Warcraft 3, that one was bad. It was like they didn't even upscale the cutscenes or anything,
Man.
and they
And then
promised
it was like
everything.
a forced upgrade that like you couldn't even go back and play your original if you
Yeah, no, it
had
was
the
like,
original.
yeah, you couldn't even play the original, and you couldn't even play like the Warcraft, I think 2. Well, no, maybe it was 3, but it was like that was where Dota and League of Legends started, like the whole MOBA thing,
Mhm.
because you would pick your hero or heroes, and you would have them, do their mobile online battle arena type of deal.
Mhm.
So they
Mhm.
basically took that out of it, so you couldn't even do that.
The hell? All right.
Yeah, I just yeah, I don't think I'll be going back to Blizzard. in a while, a hot minute.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for hanging out, everyone, and listening. Or, thanks for downloading and not listening, or listening to the first couple minutes and shutting it off. It all
Shutting it off.
counts.
According to our YouTube metrics, that's basically what happens. Is
Oh.
they listen for about 5 minutes and then shut it off. But we appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, it's
If you did
still.
make it this long, good for you.
Right.
We appreciate you. You're beautiful.
Yep, stay frosty, everyone.
And have a good rest of your week. Signing off.
Indeed.